Everybody, my name is Curtis, and I am here with a special live stream. We're going to unbox a few new Epic collections today, and I've got a couple of other surprises. And who are the first few people here in the chat? Well, of course, it's my buddy Phil and my buddy James and my buddy Ryan. So everybody, yeah, Rascal Wolf, you're all showing up at the same time. It is wonderful to see everybody. It is Thursday. I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's been a busy week so far, and I'm going to do some reading this weekend because I've got a bunch of books, and oh yes, Phil says like the T-shirt. Yeah, this is all of the best artists, all of the best artists. I don't know, you can't see very well, but you know, really, really good stuff. Okay. Hi, Curtis. Long time watching one of these lives. Been busy with college stuff. Well, I hope college is going well for you. I got this in the mail. Before we get into Epic Collections, I just want to talk about this a little bit. I got DC Finest Wonder Woman Origins and Omens in the mail, and it's very, very nice. This is the third volume to come out of the DC Finest line. It's the first one to feature Wonder Woman. The other two are Superman from the 1930s and Batman from the 1980s. And so we have kind of the holy trinity of DC Comics. Batman, Superman, and now Wonder Woman. This is the most modern stuff we've seen in this line so far. You can see on the spine here, it says 2007 to 2009. Those are the years that are collected inside. And it mainly has the start of Gail Simone's run when she was working with Terry Dodson mostly. Plus a couple of other surprises, including okay, so this is Wonder Woman Volume 3, numbers 14 to 35, plus Outsiders, Five of a Kind Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman slash Grace number 1. That's a mouthful to say. And The Brave and the Bold number 7. You can kind of see the covers on here for those two issues here to let you know that these are special issues because they were not included in the Wonder Woman by Gail Simone omnibus because they're not written by Gail Simone. And I was a little interested to read those, especially the Outsiders one, because right at the very beginning it says this is part 5. And I'm like, really? Can you read part 5, which is actually the conclusion of this 5-part story, without reading the other 4 parts? But it read just fine. There's some short exposition between characters at the beginning, and it made it easy to really get in there and understand what's going on. And so far, I've read the first story arc, which is 6 issues, the first 6 issues of Gail Simone's Wonder Woman, and it's really good. At this point of the story, she's lost her powers. Sorry, hasn't lost her powers. She's lost her connection with the Amazon. She's kind of been kicked out, and she lives in an apartment with like 6 giant gorillas, kind of weird. And then she has to fight one of these bad guys that has been around since World War II. And it was a good story. I enjoyed it. It was fun to read. Really, I love the Dodson's artwork, and that was great. Terry and Rachel Dodson, they only do maybe half of the issues of that first story arc. And but otherwise, it's really cool. So I'm going to see if I can show you a little bit of the inside just before we get into opening up some Epic collections. I think DC Finest is the only line not to have textless covers on the post 2000 stuff. That's interesting. You're right. This Wonder Woman stuff does have the cover, the trade dress on the cover. Do you think DC will keep these in print or be out of print and never come back? I think some of them at least will come back. If we're looking at like Epic collections as a model, 400 Epic collections, it's impossible to keep them all in print. There's no way that any singular printer can keep 400 books plus all of the omnis and all of the other stuff, the new content that they're printing in print. It's just the warehouse space alone to keep all of that stock is just enormous. So that's why they do let them go out of stock and bring back some of the more popular ones. But if you are wanting some of these volumes, and you can afford it, you should probably jump on it before it gets too late, because Um, I don't know what their reprint strategy is. I have no idea at all. Um, so it's gonna be a big surprise. There's Wonder Woman. Yeah, Aaron Lopresti, he does some of the other artwork in here. So we got a nice title page. Let's see if I can get some of the glare off of that there. Table of contents, just like the other ones. And yes, as you can see, there is definitely the trade dress on all of the covers. One of the interesting things about this collection, which isn't seen in the other two collections that have come out so far, is that the some of these issues have variant covers. And so we get the regular cover on one page, and the credits for the cover artists are in with the table of contents. And then we get the variant cover on the opposite side with a little credit for there. So we have a Michael Golden cover. Isn't that great? But yeah, this is some exciting stuff. I did enjoy this first story arc, and I'm looking into diving into the rest of it. Um, really fun. Anyway, I just wanted you to be aware of this book in case you are interested in it. I know some of you, your cutoff point for DC Comics doesn't quite stretch this far, so you won't be picking this one up. But there is, I don't know. I think I enjoyed it, and we'll see what happens with the rest of it. There. Okay, so let's see here. To imagine, I imagine to one day see Epics and DC Finest next to each other, depicting full histories of their companies. One can only dream. That's going to be a long time from now. I was speculating with Crushing Crisis that he's kind of done an unofficial map based on the Golden Age and Silver Age Omnis and a couple other collections and such. He thinks there's going to be about 90 volumes of Batman from the start of Batman all the way to the cutoff point in these DC Finest, which is 2011. 90 volumes, 90. And that's not including things like Legends of the Dark Knight and Shadow of the Bat. If they want to put those ones in there, it's probably going to be more. But 90 volumes. We have one Batman volume coming out in November, and we have another Batman volume coming out in May. That looks to me like they're going to be released on a 6-month schedule, two per year. Okay. Two per year, 90 volumes. That means it's going to take 45 years if they stick to that two a year format. 45 years to get through all of Batman. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to be 100 years old probably by that point. It's going to be a long haul, and I have to think to myself, do I really want to be locked in for 45 years buying all of these DC Finest one a week? It's going to be a lot. And if they expand the line, it's going to be tons. It's going to be hard to keep up, especially, Marvel. I mean, yeah, the Marvel Epic Collections is kind of the same way, except their history isn't as big as DC's. So their lines are going to be shorter. But yeah. Really digging that shirt. Thanks. Someone else said that up here as well, besides Phil, I think. Yeah, awesome shirt. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Um, Mark says, I need more podcasts. I've heard each one at least 5 times already. The interviews, even more. Thanks. I appreciate that. I really do. Put a lot of work into those. So much work that I just don't have time to do it anymore. But if I can muster up some time, I'll get back into it. But I'm sorry that I don't do any more of those podcasts. I did really enjoy it. Phil will be 105. Yeah, I'll probably be like 90, maybe 95. Should we open up a box? Let's see here. I'm going to open up a box and we're going to see what's inside. This is the first of two Epic Collection boxes, and then I've got something after that to show you. Okay, so this one has one reprint, one modern era epic collection. We'll start with the reprints. Star Wars The Empire, Volume 2, back in stock in the middle of December. The dark times continue. So the Empire, this is the period right after, what does it say? Right after, well, sorry, right between episodes 3 and 4. So after the original trilogy, um, sorry, after the new trilogy. I mean, like the first three is right before A New Hope. This is when the Empire has full control over the galaxy, and they're just causing a lot of problems there. So, and then Jedi have been slaughtered, and they're scattered. Some, the last remaining ones are scattered to the wind, and we see a lot of Darth Vader in here. So, I want to take a little quick look at this here. This is a grab bag of a bunch of different stories. I think most of it comes from one series. Let's see here. We have Star Wars Dark Times numbers 6 through 12. Dark Times Blue Harvest number 0, Blue Harvest, and then Dark Times 13. So it's a Star Wars Dark Times is the majority of this here, 17, and then Dark Times Out of the Wilderness 1 through 5. That's what we have here. I haven't read this book yet because I've been trying to read the Star Wars stuff in the order in which it was released. So I've been jumping around, and this stuff is in 2010. So it's some of the more recent output from Dark Horse that I haven't had the pleasure of reading yet. Um, I wonder if, let's see here. I don't recognize any of these artists. I don't recognize any of these characters. I think Dark Times is definitely focusing on a new set of characters. It's not part of the, although there's Darth Vader, so you know he's in here, but it's not necessarily a Skywalker tale. Actually, this stuff looks really cool. I'm tempted to just skip ahead and get to this. Said George Lucas. Are you aware that Blue Harvest was the production code name for the Star Wars film? Yes, it was. When they were making it, it was under the code name Blue Harvest. And I knew that, and then the Family Guy also did a parody of Star Wars that they called Blue Harvest for the same reason. So there you go. Yeah. Okay, enough of this one. It looks exactly the same. Who are the artists? You want to know the artists? Okay, let's take a look. So the main artists on here are David Ross, Louis Antonio, and Douglas Wheatley. The whole thing's written by Randy Stradley, which is unusual for a Star Wars book because usually it's a hodgepodge of different stories, all by different writers, but to have a singular voice and fairly consistent artwork through the whole thing is actually really cool. So there you go. If there's a volume you want to pick up, I I'd have to check. I assume that issues 1 through 5 are in volume 1. So that's but I haven't checked that out. Anyway, okay. So that's the first one. What's the next book? This is a modern epic collection. New Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 2 Civil War. And there is a House of M looking Magneto right there by Mike Diodato and David Finch cover on the front. This is New Avengers. This is the Brian Michael Bendis era. This is the second volume of the Brian Michael Bendis era of New Avengers. And it's called Civil War, but it doesn't have the Civil War miniseries in it. Marvel doesn't put the big event crossovers into these collections. They dance around them, but it's still called Civil War because majority of this book is going to deal with that story and deal with the consequences and all that kind of stuff. So um, let's see here. New Avengers 11 to 25 plus New Avengers guest starring the Fantastic Four, number one, Giant Size Spider Woman, number one, New Avengers Annual, number one, New Avengers Illuminati, number one, and Civil War The Confession. So we got a lot of books in here. This is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, exactly the same as the New Avengers by Brian Michael Bendis Complete Collection, Volume 2. Pretty sure it's exactly the same contents. Okay, all of you people, what are you saying here? The comics that put me off comics. Bendis runs and hides. Okay, you know what? Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I will tell you that I actually had a really fun time reading the first volume. It was it's it was like it was like eating a bowl of candy, right? It's like it probably rots your teeth, but it's just super sugary and fun. And that's I think that's the point of it. He was writing to be big and bombastic, and it's not everybody's style, but I had fun. And I remember reading the Civil War story when it came out in the beginning. So um, I am looking forward to seeing what is in store for these characters here um, in the second time because I don't think I didn't continue on with New Avengers really. Can you check to see if there are any text recaps of the Civil War event in this volume? Wondering when it's supposed to be read chronologically. Yes, let's check that out. I just want to make one quick change to my camera. Maybe I can't do that right now. Okay, Bendis rots your teeth. Bendis is the reason I became an Avengers fan. I never read it before him. Yeah, I think a lot of people are in that same boat. Um, he was definitely a gateway. Okay, why is my second camera freezing up on me? I might have to. Oh, okay. New Avengers guest starring the Fantastic Four number one. The colorists on this one put kind of a brown tone on a bunch of this artwork. Yeah, my camera's freezing up. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. I just don't have good enough internet. Or yes, I guess. I was saying they put a kind of a brown tone on everything. Um, that is a very, very common thing that happens here. Oh yeah, Ronan is a new character that kind of shows up here. Got a big secret behind him in case you don't know the secret or you haven't seen Avengers Endgame. But yeah, David Finch, I do like his artwork. He's very dark and very moody, and some people uh, don't dig that, but I think it's great. He puts a lot of detail into these characters. Um, he sure can draw, that's for sure. Look at that. Pretty cool. Whoa, big explosion. I'm loving these comments. Your second camera is freezing because Bendis rots cameras. My takeaway is that Bendis makes you feel sick. There you go. If you say so. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a lot of people will feel that way for sure. Okay, you wanted to know about text recaps? Let's see if I can find the beginning of an issue here. Whoa, there's a nice picture. Double page spread. So let's see, Avengers number 15. We've got a cover, a bonus feature cover for Wizard number 171 by Frank Cho. No text recaps there, but where does Civil War start? Someone needs to help me out here. Um, Giant Size Spider Woman number one. Oh, what did I see there? Avengers 17, that has no text recap. I'll tell you, that was a pretty popular lineup. And you're like, why is Spider-Man and Wolverine on the Avengers? But then, like, why not? Everyone's on the Avengers. Sure, they have their own titles, but who cares? They're popular. Avengers number 18. That looks like a Steve McNiven cover. I'm not seeing any text recaps. There's another Diodato. I really like his use of shadows. This big black page is there as a spacer because of the double page spreads. And it looks like it's post Civil War. Still no text recaps though. That's Avengers number 20. And Wedding issue. I remember when that one came out. Did you see the Thunderbolts trailer, the new one? How it just has and Bob at the very end. I'm reminded because Bob shows up in a lot of these pages here. Oh, here's Avengers Illuminati artwork. This one artwork by Brian Alex Malev, I believe. Um, no, you know what? I'm not seeing a whole. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. There's the first Civil War right there, and it does have a text recap. Hoping to boost their ratings, four new warriors, young superheroes, and reality television stars attempted to apprehend a quartet of villains holed up in Stamford, Connecticut. When confronted, the explosive Nitro employed his self-detonation ability, blowing the new warriors and a large chunk of Stamford into oblivion. And that's just part of the first paragraph. So it does tell you a little bit about what's going on there. And then we get into the first issue of Civil War. And there's this second part, but no text recaps there. A lot of these tie-ins for this series are people talking about the good and the bad of the Superhero Registration Act. So it's while the main story and all of the fighting and action happens in the main series, there's a very typical Bendis page for you with long skinny panels, lots of text and stuff. He, I like his dialogue and his conversations. That's just my personal taste. People say that he writes all characters the same and they all have the same voice. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. There's some cool artwork. There's Bob right there, and some Inhumans. Jim Chung. Let's see here. And then there's another text recap to tell us how everything wraps up in Civil War. And then that leads into the confession, which I kind of think should have been in um, or part of it should have been in the Captain America Modern Era Epic Collection. I can't remember if it is. I just read it and it wasn't. Like the part where he gets captured and taken away. Because it skips straight um the Civil War sorry, the Civil War tie-ins right to him being paraded into the middle of New York for his little public trial. And that would have been great to have this little story in there. But they work as companions. So if you have Captain America Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 3, Death of the Dream, no, Volume 2, Death of the Dream, then it works in tandem with this. And then you'll also want to get your Civil War skinny trade out. I bet you there will be a Civil War event Epic Collection. Now that we have Annihilation Epic Collections coming out, I bet there will be Civil War Epic Collections coming soon, coming at some point. Which will be the first epic that collects an event alongside an ongoing? I don't know. Did you already get Spider-Man Modern Era Epic Volume 5? My store got copies in today, and it looks like the colors aren't very bright. Was that the same with yours? No, my colors are perfectly fine. I'm not sure if that was just a problem with the batch that your store got, but my colors look absolutely perfect. I read through it, and it is totally fine. Do you know when the next Epic Collection announcements are? I don't know yet. It's probably in the new year, I think. I don't think it's going to be before Christmas. Um, Usually, how it works is Marvel works on their Marvel Masterworks releases first. They get that schedule, and then you'll see Omar announce those on his channel, and then they start working on the schedule for Omnis, and Omar will start announcing those ones. And when you see, no, sorry, it's the other way around. Omnis first, Masterworks second, and when you see the Masterworks announcements, that's when you know that the epic ones are going to come soon. Nitro is one of the more successful supervillains. He killed Captain Marvel and then the New Warriors and broke Omar's heart. I'm not sure that Omar cared particularly about that iteration of New Warriors, but I don't know for sure. Okay, here's the second box, and reminder that after this, I have one more box with a special surprise in there to show you. What do we have here? I've got a modern era epic collection and a regular epic collection. Let's take a look at this one. Phil, you'll have to bear with me. I have one more modern, and then I know you're going to like what I have coming up next. Um, NT Gamer asks, "Are you getting the Harley Quinn Finest book?" Yes, absolutely. I do love that Batman Adventures era stuff, so I'm definitely going to get that. Iron Man Modern Era Epic Collection, Volume 4, Stark Disassembled. This is the next part of the Matt Fraction era of Iron Man. Collecting, let's see here, nice back cover with Rescue, Iron Man and Rescue. Invincible Iron Man numbers 20 to 33, Iron Man Requiem, Rescue number 1, and Free Comic Book Day 2020, the Iron Man and Thor story. And so um, this is this is a cool cover because it's black. Sorry, it's so shiny. It's black, so you don't actually even see the bar down the side. It's just suggested by the words that are here. That's kind of cool. And let's see. Then Iron Man's on the spine. Stark disassembled. So this is an era of Iron Man I'm very unfamiliar with. We get a text recap. Let's see. Previously, that's interesting that they gave us a previously because, oh, I see. Norman Osborn, the leader of the corrupt government agent known as Hammer, has made a grab for the power and information Stark once had. I guess it is, let's see, this issue, and then this one says this issue occurs during Invincible Iron Man 18 while Tony Stark was in the process of erasing his own mind. It's a little flashback, yeah. Um, I guess very retro looking. That's cool. Retelling or his origin story in a modern setting. Who's the artist on this? It looks very familiar. Where's the credit page? Um, oh, no wonder. Yeah, it is. It's exactly the same artist. It's the same artwork and everything. It's Don Heck. It's Stan Lee and Larry Lieber writing it. They just are reprinting it in full. I thought it was an artist kind of doing an impression, but no, it's the actual thing. Recolored, of course, a little bit more modern like. The first volume, Tony Stark plants some sort of virus in his mind to get rid of his secrets so that they won't be taken away by the big bad that is after him. And so the whole volume is kind of a following the deterioration of Tony Stark's mind. And it was pretty cool. This one is the fallout from that. And I haven't read this yet, obviously, because I just got this. But um, I'm really looking forward to it. Salvador Larroca is the artist, and he's going through kind of a transformation with his art style at this point. Very different from the stuff that he was doing in like in X-Men in the early 2000s and stuff. Uh, Going a little bit more photorealistic. There's Rescue. He doesn't do all the issues in this book. There's that cover. It's the Invincible Iron Man variant cover for issue 25. Okay, yeah. I can't yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this book because I'll read it this weekend and we'll see what happens. Oh, there's a nice cover right there. What do we have in the way of bonus features? I should have checked out the bonus features in the other one. Um, we've got we've got a oh, this is a John Romita Jr. issue. That's cool. We've got some variant covers. Patch Zurcher and Jun Chung, black and white versions. More variant covers, variant covers, variant covers. Um, Movie covers because this is in the movie era. Um, some head sketches, concept art, I guess. Iron Man development designs. Ryan Meandering, a designer for Marvel Studios who's worked on Iron Man and Iron Man 2, kicked off the process with a round of different approaches to Iron Man's helmet. That's what that is there. That's kind of cool. Um, a lot of armor specs. That's what you get when you have a movie guy working for you. Original art from Salvador LaRocca. Man, look at all of that. All of the backgrounds are plain to leave room for giving us some cool digital colored backgrounds. Um, I don't know if that's good or bad. Mileage may vary. And then the next modern era epic collection to come is going to be Thor, The Siege of Asgard. Okay, what do you have to say here? Fraction's run on Invincible Iron Man is great. Again, this is the book that got me into Iron Man. Never read it before his run. There you go. Bought the Superman DC Finest and read it all. Really enjoyed it. Your thoughts? I have read about the first 150 pages or so, and I really enjoyed it too. Very different. It's interesting experiencing comics from that era, the late 30s. It's very, very different, but surprisingly very enjoyable too. They're just short stories, not a whole lot of depth to them, but very fun. Easier to read, I think, than some Silver Age comics. Um, Retro sci-fi. I had these retro sci paperbacks, covers, retro sci-fi paperback covers. Yes, I think some of them are in here. Will we ever get events in Marvel Epic Collections just like DC is doing for their finest line? The answer is yes. We already have one announced. It is Annihilation. They're not labeled events like DC Finest is. It's just called Annihilation. But that is our first big event Epic Collection, and it's coming out in 2025. Do you know Clover Press plans to make some DC art of books? I know someone who would have to have an art of Jenny's freezing. Um, DC art books, I it's been discussed. There's, a lot of contracts and complications and everything that has to go along with that. So we'll have to see. Nothing on the schedule yet. Um, this one is one that a lot of people have been waiting for. X-Men Epic Collection, volume, what is this? Volume 10, God Loves, Man Kills. More of the Chris Claremont era. This is one of the few X-Men comics that I have from this era. The first time Rogue joins the team. Who gets the cover? Of course, it's Wolverine. Who gets the spine, I mean? This is great. When do you think they'll get to printing the Western romances in the Epic collections? I don't think that they ever will. I think that they are probably going to maybe Fantagraphics will take them up as part of their series that they're doing. My favorite era of X-Men. Paul Smith rules. This is when you started reading X-Men. Now we're talking. I need this X-Men book. Yes, a lot of people have been waiting for this X-Men Epic collection, and it is coming in a few weeks in December. It has Marvel graphic novel number 5, God Loves Man Kills, that kicks off the book. And then Uncanny X-Men 168 through 175, Wolverine number 1, 2, and 3, and 4, the miniseries. That's the Frank Miller miniseries. And then also X-Men Annual number 7. So the fact that this has God Loves Man Kills and the Wolverine miniseries in it, plus a solid run of X-Men issues, means that this is a highly sought after collection, epic collection. Really, really good. Omar absolutely loves this story. It's one of his favorites. And honestly, I've never read this one. I've read this era of X-Men, but I never found this graphic novel in the bins or anything like that, so I'd never read it. So this will be my first time going through this one. Um, I understand that there's like a bad word in this one somewhere. I don't know if they're going to censor that out. If anyone knows what page that would be on, then I can check. But I don't want to just flip through every page here. Let's see. Here is also the very, very iconic splash page to Uncanny X-Men number 168. So good. Just incredible. Paul Smith has so much emotion in his characters, in his poses. This is after all of the Dark Phoenix stuff. This is after all of the Days of Future Past and all of that. It's yeah, this is when Storm battles for the to be the leader of the Morlocks. Um, Rogue joins the team. Professor Xavier's in a relationship with Lilandra of the Shi'ar Empire. Here's the Wolverine miniseries. Original colors. This miniseries is so great. I love it. And it leads directly it ties in with X-Men at the time because there's going to be a little wedding. There's the wedding invitation right there. It's nice to have this collected here. I've been waiting for that for a long time. Um, let's see here. We've also got there you go. That's Corsair in the background. So we got some Star Jammers, and then we have Dark Dark Phoenix. Phil Owen says it's on the 7th page of the story. So let's have a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, it is blacked out. It is censored in this version here, which is frankly is not a surprise. That's how it was in the previous time it was reprinted, and so here it is that way as well. You'll just have to imagine in your mind what the word is. I'm sure you all know it, and there you go. Oh, look at that. Is this the annual? There's some Michael Golden artwork on here. Where Rogue takes on the powers of She-Hulk. I thought she only could take the powers of mutants. Maybe that's something that hadn't been defined at that point yet. Or no, sorry, this is Impossible Man. Oh, is Impossible Man a mutant? I don't know. Anyway, you see how many black pages there are at the end? There are a lot of bonus features. It looks like they're including all of the handbook entries for all of the X-Men related characters. That takes up bulk of these things here. Will we ever get handbook epic collections? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Um, graphic. So this God Loves Man Kills original art pencils. Solving for X, God Loves Man Kills through the lens of now, from the extended cut in 2020. Also, a bunch of articles that were in the extended cut. Some pinups from Marvel Fanfare. And Paul Smith roughs, some previous collections. And there you go. That is your look at probably one of the most anticipated epic collections to come out this year, X-Men Volume 10, God Loves, Man Kills. I don't think it's just mutants. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She'll take anybody's memories and that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What am I thinking? It's not just mutants. I'm thinking of who am I think? I'm thinking of Sync from Generation X. His powers only work with mutants in proximity with mutants. Yeah, of course. Obviously. Okay. I have been doing some work with a friend. I got to give a shout out to my friend Michael Schwartz, who's been writing a new comic called Armored, and um, it's about a boy who finds a haunted suit of armor, and the ghost of the suit of armor teaches him how to use it and fight off bad guys. It's got some really beautiful watercolor art by a guy named Ishmael Hernandez, new on the scene. This is his first comic work, but it's just great. And the story, I love it. So I encourage people to check it out. The first four issues, I think, are available through your local comic shop now. But he's part of a podcast called the Wizards Podcast. I think it's what it's called. All about Wizard Magazine. He loves Wizard Magazine, and so he's doing now an armored half issue, just like Wizard Magazine used to put out half issues, and he's going to launch a Kickstarter on it pretty soon. But I'm helping him with the production on that, and in return, I'm using my hard-earned money to get what's in this box. And you'll be surprised. All of you are going to be shocked because you would have thought, why is Kurtis buying something like this? Because it's not an epic collection. It's not DC Finest. It's an omnibus. Can you tell from the packaging which omnibus it is? Marvel versus DC. Marvel versus DC omnibus. There you go. Got a big fat price tag on the front of it. Let's take a look on the inside here. Got to cut this very carefully, just so I can get my finger in there and tear the rest of it. I love it. Dear God, hell is frozen over. Ah, you guys are so funny. I'm pretty certain this stuff is never going to make it to paperback or be a thick trade. It had it shot years ago. I'm just happy to have kind of all of these stories all in one. This is really, really cool. The greatest superhero team ups of all time return to print. The fact that Marvel and DC got together to give us this Omni is truly fantastic. Um, let's see. Where'd you buy that t-shirt and what's it called? I don't know what it's called. My wife actually got it for me for my birthday many years ago. So sorry, I can't answer your question. There, the flaps. and the DC versus Marvel Amalgam Age Omnibus is coming out. They had a printing error. They had to scrap the whole print run, unfortunately, um, and they had to reprint it. So that's too bad. Nice wraparound cover on the spine there, or on the boards. Very cool. End papers. Okay, I don't know how to open an Omni properly. It's all stiff. I know there's like a science to it, but I don't know what that science is. There's what the covers look like. They are inset. They don't go full bleed, and they put a Marvel versus DC banner. A little cheesy, I think, on the top and the bottom, but there you go. You ever thought you'd see Thanos and Green Lantern face off? Well, there you go. I have a few of these stories in their original forms, but not all of them, and it's kind of nice to have them all in one place. Joker and Carnage together. Mark Bagley did this one. You can tell, yeah, that's definitely Mark Bagley on art for that one there. And Silver Surfer. That's Ron Lim. Oh, John Byrne. No, it's John Byrne, not Ron Lim. What is this one? Dark Side versus Galactus. I've never read that one. That's cool. Oh, John Romita Jr. doing Punisher and Batman. Is it Batman and Punisher? Yes, it is Batman and Punisher. Does this have the Daredevil Batman Daredevil issues? Let's find out. Let's go to the table of contents. Look at all those covers. That's pretty cool. Table of contents. Let's see here. Lots of introductions. Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, Punisher, Spider-Man, Batman, Daredevil. That's what you wanted? Batman, Daredevil, and Daredevil, Batman. Yep, they're both here. Let's see. Page 697. I can't believe there's 697, over 697 pages here. It's almost 1,000, I think. 697. There you go. That looks like what's his name? Scott McDaniel. Oh yeah. Chichester and McDaniel. That's the team that was working on Daredevil at the time, the Fall from Grace era. Definitely his work. And then the second one should be a little bit later. Oh, that's a big long story. Daredevil and Batman. Batman, Spider-Man. This one is J.M. DeMatteis and Graham Nolan. It's hard to hold up these books to show you. Superman. Which one is this? Superman Fantastic Four. That was an oversized one originally, right? Wasn't that like really, really big? I can't remember. They shrunk the artwork down for this one here. That would account for the large margins if it was more square bound. I mean, more square aspect ratio. Oh, this one I like. I really like this one. The Hulk and Superman by Steve Rude, I believe. Yeah, Roger Stern and Steve Rude. That one's a lot of fun. Some great kind of retro style artwork on that. I like Steve Rude a lot. I think he has really nice old school comic sensibilities when it comes to storytelling. And the story itself is just old. Like, look at that. He's mimicking Kirby in there for sure. And here's the other Batman Daredevil book right there by Alan Grant and Eduardo Barreto, um, a creator that I'm not familiar with, but it looks cool. So this is a hefty book and lots of bonus features at the back. Script pages, original art, a lot of original art, tons of original art. Wow, that is a lot of original art. And covers from previous collections. I have a couple of the crossover classics collections. Actually, maybe just one. And I have the Marvel versus DC. Oh, my page is stuck together. Now, I heard that some people were saying, oh, this is a gatefold. I'm going to have to check this out, but my page is stuck. I got to be careful. That didn't sound nice. This is a fold out. Oh, this is the cover that's on the this is the cover that's on the boards on the outside of the book. And then this one, how does this one open up? It's not opening for me. Yeah, it's not opening. Sorry, I'm not going to wreck my book trying to show it to you. I'm going to figure that one out later. But there's a double fold out there, it looks like. Some advertisements. They're trying to squeeze them as many as they can into one page just because there's a lot of pages in here already. Another fold out. So these fold outs, of course, they have to land between. Oh man, that's really cool. This is the Jim Lee cover. Um, and then Jim Lee's pencils on the outside of that. With fold outs, they can't be bound in with the signatures, so they have to glue them in between the signatures or stick them at the very end. So um, the glue might get a little bit off there because they're having to glue it separately. But anyway, that's your look at DC versus Marvel. Actually, you know what? I want to see the first few because these are the classic team ups. The very, very first ones. These are the cool ones. I mean, maybe they're all cool. I don't know, but I really like these early ones here. Batman and Spider-Man. I mean, Batman, Superman and Spider-Man. Dr. Octopus and Lex Luthor working together. That was a big long story. And then they do it again, I think. And then what's this one over here? Batman and the Hulk, classic era for like Joker and such. Really cool. And then this one I really love, the Uncanny X-Men and the new Teen Titans. And then we get then we have to jump pretty drastically from that to Batman and the Punisher in the 90s when they started doing more regular crossovers. Um, the only thing that's not in here is the Marvel versus DC. Even though this is the Marvel versus DC omnibus, it doesn't have the Marvel versus DC miniseries because that's part of the Amalgam omnibus. So there you go. I wonder how many Omnis you secretly have on pre-order. I don't have any on pre-order. Um, let's see here. I still have my Superman Fantastic Four Treasury giant size. Yeah, that's right. Lots of back matter in that book. DC did a great job with that, in my opinion. Is this one published by DC? Like they printed it? They did all of the work on it? So technically, like they licensed the Marvel characters for it. I guess because Jim Lee did the cover. Yeah, this is a DC production. Is that what it says in the legal stuff here? DC Comics, yep. That's why it's actually called the DC versus Marvel Omnibus, not the Marvel versus DC Omnibus. Can you give me a link to that place you were talking about printing westerns and romance from Marvel? So Fantagraphics, if you go to their website, they have a section for Marvel now, and they aren't doing westerns and romance yet, but they are taking a lot of oddball Marvel stuff, like they're licensing the rights to stuff that Marvel doesn't care about, and they're doing it. It's a lot of sci-fi right now, some wartime comics, a lot of stuff from the Atlas era before they changed their name to Marvel. So that's the 1950s. But they just recently announced that they are going to be doing a Howard Chaykin collection that collects some stuff from like the 70s. Uh, and and then another one they're going to be publishing um, one of their parody humor magazines that they did in the 70s as well. So it's not westerns and romance yet, but they might be heading in that direction at some point. Hopefully. I'd love to see that because Marvel doesn't seem to really care about putting that stuff out for sure. Yeah, DC did all the work on this one. Oh yeah, Avengers GLA is not in here. Man, I didn't get that. That last, I guess it was an absolute maybe or something. I didn't get that. I should have got that. Kicking myself now a little bit. Why didn't they include that? Because it's special? Because of that one-time reprinting thing that they did earlier? That's too bad. Um, okay, so yes, Venus. This is in reference to the Atlas era comics that Fantagraphics are putting out. They did do Venus. Technically, Venus is a romance, but only the first half of the Venus series is a romance, and the second half, while still there are still romance elements to it, it dives more into the sci-fi and the horror side of things. They really change gears, and that's the stuff that Fantagraphics put out. They kind of skipped over the romance era issues because that's in a Marvel Masterworks volume. I wonder if it's excluded to reprint the Absolute. You know, if Marvel and DC are playing nice, then maybe there is hope to get a reprint of that Absolute if that's the case. Because that other one was extremely limited, right? It was a tiny print run. Not everybody was able to get it. So if they were able to go wide, then yeah, I'll have to splurge and pick up a copy there. Are you gonna place that omnibus next to Muppet Baby? Yeah, yes, I will. Um, I will definitely do that. They'll have the same spot on the shelf. Okay. Um, that's all I have to show you today. Should I do a recap? I took a look at the DC versus Marvel omnibus, of which I am pretty excited to read, even though it's a pain in the butt to read because it's so huge. I got it because I was working on a project um, with my friend Michael Schwartz, who's the writer for this comic Armored, which you should check out. X-Men Epic Collection Volume 10, God Loves, Man Kills. Iron Man Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 4, Stark Disassembled. New Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 2, Civil War. And a reprint of Star Wars Legends Epic Collection, The Empire Volume 2. That is all we talked about today. Plus, I gave a little bit of a look at the Wonder Woman DC Finest Origins and Omens. No volume number on that. Can I trade weight armored? Yes, you can. We will be Um, the first story arc is 6 issues, and then after that, we will be doing a Kickstarter for a collected edition for Armored, and then it'll eventually hit the comic shops after that. So if you want to trade weight, that is totally fine. Absolutely. Okay, there we go. The DC Finest double dips with the Gail Simone Wonder Woman Omni. Obviously, yes, there's with DC Finest, there will be double dipping with previous collections. It has a few issues that aren't in the Wonder Woman Omni, but for the most part, yeah, it is a double dip. There you go. Thanks, Phil. Hit that like button, everybody. Thanks also, Ultra Mega Nicola. Okay, thank you for reminding me to let everybody know that you can like and subscribe this. I do appreciate that all the time. This has been a long and wonderful stream. Thanks for everybody who's checking it out. We've got some good reading coming up ahead. I hope all of you are enjoying reading the books that you're getting too. Read them. Don't just stick them on your shelf and ignore them. Make sure that you sit down and actually spend some time enjoying these stories, enjoying the artwork, enjoying the people who created them. It is such a great joy to be able to sit down and have all of this content easily available for us at this time. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. See you later.